So like this year, I actually thought it was a little bit harder to rank them. I feel like we played more high quality games, honestly.
Yeah, we didn't play like very many like very like overly shitty games. Like we didn't play fucking like Giraffe Town.
We played 43 games, so we played a little bit more, but I even then I think that there were less bad games in these 43 than there were in the 35 from last year.
There were a lot of like games.
Yeah, I noted that I had like I was just looking at my list because I actually the way I did it, I ranked every single game, and then I was like, oh, I have a top 5 and bottom 5 because I wanted to make sure I was thorough. And my bottom 10, it really, really drops off. I think it's like mediocre. It's like, wait, we played absolute crap with these 40 or with these bottom 10.
All I did was top 5, bottom 5, and honorable mentions for both.
Okay, I didn't even have. I guess I technically have honorable mentions because I have like 6th and 7th place, but.
Yeah.
But before I even get into my top 5, okay, no, you know what? I have other stuff. I'm not gonna like drag.
Go
this
into your
down.
shit. I don't care.
Okay, all right, top 5, and then your top 5. We'll just make this really easy. Number 5, Wadham. I actually was surprised how high this went up on my list, and I think it was just because I had a really good emotional connection to this game, and I
actually remember you like really resonating with that game. It was I could take it or leave it, but I remember you like really enjoying. That seemed like a game like you or your girlfriend could enjoy.
Yeah, fundamentally, it's kind of a mediocre gameplay experience, but like I just have a really strong emotional connection to it. I still boot it up from time to time. That was the first game we played this year, by the way, so I'm surprised it made it into my top 5 list. Number 4, The Fireman. I think that's one of the best SNES games I've ever played, and I was extremely surprised by how good it was, especially because we came off playing the Ignition Factor. I'm like,
which
this is gonna suck. This is gonna suck. Just like honestly, what a game for the Super Nintendo. Super short, doesn't overstay its welcome. Feels like an arcade game, but it isn't bullshit. I really enjoyed that, and that would be an amazing speedrun to do. Number 3 on my list. Okay, number 3, and these are ordered, so it's not like they're all on the same tier for me. If that's not how it is for you, that's fine. Number 3 on my list, Bejeweled Twist. I didn't mean to rhyme, but I played so much goddamn Bejeweled Twist, and it was necessary. I needed to play Bejeweled Twist because I had to feed my addiction. Yeah, exactly. So shout out to Bejeweled Twist for getting me addicted somehow. I haven't been addicted to a puzzle game in a very long time. But speaking of games that really were starting to get me addicted while I was playing them, number 2, and I know this might be a little controversial because it is a new game this year, but Psychonauts 2. I guess I had to make it 2. I don't know. I'm talking like an announcer, like some
game was sick as fuck.
Yeah, I want to say, and I think that we haven't had an episode since the Game Awards, I have never seen a game more robbed in my life than Psychonauts 2 was at the Game Awards. It made me...
I mean, are you really surprised, though?
I'm not surprised in a way, but at the same time, like, I wanted the Game Awards to be the most legit organized. The thing is, all award shows suck, and the Game Awards, I wanted them to be an exception. They're not an exception. They're going
to pander to whatever, higher ups or people that are completely disconnected from like what games actually people like.
The thing is, the winners. I guess I didn't know the best game of the year winner. I didn't even heard of it. It's like some random indie game, but like the winner of like best cinematography or whatever they say the equivalent is for gaming, like. It's Rewind or whatever, the game where you die over and over again. It looks really nice, but like it's not Psychonauts 2. Made me really upset that Psychonauts 2 won 0 awards. I was so pissed.
I feel like a lot of the awards were based less off of like how fun and amazing like the gameplay was and how the overall gaming experience was versus like how each of those things were like separated, where there's like music, score, or like graphics, that kind of thing, versus like
best overall presentation. I think best presentation actually was a category that Psychonauts 2 did.
Really?
But
well, then fuck the Game Awards.
Yeah. Psychonauts 2, like it's a weird. You could tell that like even though some of these AAA titles that did win have so much effort, and they're extremely like well produced, and like they deserve some awards. Like there's just like a tangible feel of like someone putting their heart and soul to Psychonauts 2 that some of these games just feel soulless. That's it. Like what was it? Marvel Avengers won some awards over Psychonauts 2, and I'm like, fuck
Which
this.
Is like,
fuck you.
Yeah. I think it's understated how impressive Psychonauts 2 was. To be a game, how many games have come out like as a sequel, 10 years, whatever, 15 years later after the fact, and they end up being fucking garbage. Psychonauts 2 was so unbelievably refreshing. It fixed all the problems we had from the original game, which I'm not the biggest fan of the original game. To create an experience that like I think about like actually quite often, like Psychonauts 2 fucking ruled.
And then number 1, this is not a surprise at all, Hades. I have not.
Yeah.
Psychonauts 2 was amazing, but I have not felt the same way I felt.
You were addicted to Hades.
Yeah,
like we both were.
I have not felt the same way I felt about video games that I felt about Hades since I was a child. Like, this literally brought back the childhood innocence of gaming to me. I know it's not a game for children, but I was like, I was fucking hooked on gaming again. I didn't think it was possible. I legitimately thought, and like, this is actually something I want to talk about with Ori, where I loved Ori. I'm going to say that right now. But
really? That's awesome.
I thought that while I was playing Ori that like, for some reason, I just can't get into a game story like I used to, but that Hades is the exception. I loved everything about Hades. As you might be not surprised, my honorable mentions are Ori and the Blind Forest. I have 3. Well, I have 2, actually. Honorable mentions, Ori and the Blind Forest and DJ Max Respect 5. Really enjoyed both those games. However, I don't think they have what it takes to be in my top 5. That said, Wadham is in my top 5, so what am I talking about?
I mean, like, it's all, at the end of the day, it's
Relative.
what we like the most, you know? You're allowed to have your top 5. This is going to be a lot less exciting when I go over mine, because, like, there's going to be an extremely large amount of overlap.
I'm not surprised, and I'm sure there's going to be in the bottom 5 too, but I do want to note 2 things. One, Mario didn't make top 5. I had Mario around top 10, Mario 3D World plus Bowser Fury. Maybe that's because I played 3D World on my Wii U. But
you know what? I when I was doing my top 5 or whatever, I did not consider Bowser Fury as a standalone title. I think Bowser Fury's alone could be a top, like, probably like a 6 or 7 for me. That game was fucking sick.
Yeah, but 3D World drags it down, sadly. And then the one game that I feel like it was really unfair to me to rate this year was Metroid Dread, because Metroid Dread we didn't do enough. We really
I
dropped
played
the ball
a
on that.
shit ton of that game.
Did you beat it though?
I'm like on the last part.
Okay, but I meant for the episode at least. Like I feel like
I played it a lot after the fact.
Really
I
dropped the ball.
probably played like 10 hours of it at least.
Okay, you should have beaten it by now. Then isn't it like an 8-hour game? I played like 2 hours of it, and I wish I played more.
My problem is I do like all the extra shit. Fuck, man, that's going in. Okay, I'm gonna do my best. Okay, are you ready?
All right. Yes.
All right. So number 5 is DJ Max Respect. I have not been as attracted to sexually to a music game in a long fucking time. I pretty much only played like the 4-key.
Yeah.
But as far as like music, as far as how fun some of like the harder charts were, there's the problem with a lot of music games. Once you start getting to the harder charts, they become not very fun, if you get what I mean. Like,
yeah, it's just kind of like a wall of notes, and like you have to do like weird, awkward hand motions, and like also the fact of the matter, like there's also a point in a lot of rhythm games where you go from able to do everything to now everything's impossible, and there's like there's no learning curve in a way, and I feel like DJ Max Respect fixed a lot of those problems. But continue.
Oh, absolutely. DJ Max Respect absolutely did that. I think it has a fantastic curve of difficulty. I ended up buying all the extra packs. I have like 1,000 songs.
Jesus, did you spend like $1,000?
I spent like $100, but
oh my God.
yeah, I still haven't played it since, but it's still, you know, in my heart. In 4th, I have Psychonauts 2. You know, as we said, fantastic game, fantastic presentation, visually, gameplay, everything about it was, you know, the full package. I'm not going to say it's a 10 out of 10 game, but like an easy 9 out of 10 for me, you know? There's a lot shittier games that we played this year. 3rd, this is so boring, The Fireman. That game fucking ruled. Literally one of the best Super Nintendo games. I think that was like the
surprise of the year.
Yeah, basically it's the surprise of the year. It took both of us off guard how much we actually enjoyed that game. That'd be something I would love to play couch co-op. Like if we ever get together sometime, like that's like something to do on the list to play like together. 'Cause I'm pretty sure you can play that 2-player, right?
I think you actually can't, if I recall, and it's like misleading because you have like a robot partner, but the PS1 version has co-op. But I could be wrong. Regardless, I feel like we've said a lot on Fireman. We got to get through these lists, man.
Oh my God. All right. Number 2, Diablo 2.
Nowhere on my list.
I probably played like several hundred hours of that when it came out, like to like a disgusting degree. I think I was playing it like 13 or 14 hours, like sessions, like every day. Like it was really, really degenerate. I haven't played it for many, many months. I'm sorry that you did not have the same experience as me. And then number one, Hades.
Yeah.
For the same reason as you. Hades is just one of the best games I've ever played. In the same frame that you had mentioned, and that it brought up emotion that I have not experienced myself since I was much younger. A lot of games like, oh yeah, this is super cool, and then we play 4 or 5 hours of it, and then never again. This was a game that we were both like addicted to. Like we were both like going back and forth, saying like, oh, I did this today, I did that today. Oh, I finally beat it. And it's the end game is so expansive and stuff like that. It's understated how fucking good that game is.
I literally had to stop myself. I'm like, I can't do the end game because I know it's gonna like ruin my life. It's gonna be like 200 hours of my life gone. I'm like thinking about it now. Diablo and Hades are kind of similar in some ways. You're gonna say no, but okay.
No, they absolutely are. They're both dungeon crawler type.
Why
games.
Why did I not like Diablo? Who knows?
Because Diablo 2 is very, very archaic, and I like it because I've played like 10,000 hours of it.
So I actually
like Diablo 2 is extremely a boomer game.
The two games that are different. We both had Fireman, Psychonauts 2, and Hades. I thought Bejeweled Twist and Wadham deserved some spotlight. You thought Diablo 2 and I already forgot the other one.
DJ Max Respect.
Okay, so pretty much the only thing we disagree with is on Diablo. I think it's the worst game ever made. You don't. But because I spoiled my top 5 for you, you could do your bottom 5 first, and I'll see if I agree.
Well, I actually have an honorable mention for
I
best
forgot
game
about
of
these.
the year for me. So for me, honorable mention, Gorogoa.
Wally.
Gorogoa, in my opinion, was one of the best games, if not the best game I played this year. I just got so soured by the price and the length of it that I couldn't make it a favorite. Like if that was a $5 game, that would easily be on my top 5. That game ruled.
I put Gorogoa probably criminally low because of the duration and price. Like I just didn't think it was like I have Gorogoa at 24. I have it solidly in the hat. I have better than it. I have Wally. I got actually there's a lot of games here.
You
that
loved
were great.
Gorogoa.
I loved it, but I also loved Wally. Do you not remember
if you go back to Gorogoa,
you like 75 times.
Man, if this was $5, this would be game of the year, man. Like this is like game. This game that was you, straight up you.
I have it better than MC Kids. That's pretty good. I could probably like change some of these middle rankings. Like I'm not sure. Gorogoa is better than
bottom
WarioWare.
5. Are you ready?
Yeah.
So
fifth worst.
This is I guess 5th worst. Bejeweled Twist.
Fuck you. Just moving on. Fuck you.
I'm not a Bejeweled guy. So
fuck
you. You've known me for X amount of years, and you've known my disdain for Bejeweled. I find it to be so boring. You find it cathartic. No,
I genuinely tried to get into other Bejeweled after Bejeweled Twist, and I couldn't do it. Bejeweled Twist has what it takes to be one with my heart. Other Bejeweled sucks. I don't like other Bejeweled.
So for those that don't know, Sam was like literally like horribly addicted to Bejeweled Twist after he played it. Like how I was playing Diablo 2, he was playing fucking Bejeweled Twist. Like he was playing it so fucking great. Much. He would see like screenshot me. He's like, look at this fucking fucking insane super
I would like
combo.
show him my progress, and it's like you can't make it to that level without putting in like just in one Bejeweled game alone like 19 hours. It's like I had to do it. I had to.
4th worst, Gucci Arcade.
That was towards the bottom of mine, but it didn't make it. I'm not going to spoil too hard.
Gucci Arcade was pretty bad for me. The next is going to be Who Wants to Beat Up a Millionaire?
That's not the worst.
That's not the worst. Right. It's 3rd worst for me.
All right.
That game just didn't have much substance. Like the questions sucked, like the graphics sucked, like everything about that game was fucking garbage. Next for me is going to be Hai no Tori Huhonen Gao no Boken.
I like that game.
I hated that game. Hated that game.
You didn't even seem like you hated it when we were like doing the podcast. Like you seemed to...
it was the type of thing that I like actually looked at the list of games and stuff like that, and I remembered why I disliked this game. That was like the game where you had to like beat, and then like you had to find like invisible doors. You had like no way of knowing where they were to
but
go
it's an NES game. You have no forgiveness. Come on.
It just, I don't know. I don't like it. And then number one worst game of the year was Fuser. Fuck Fuser. Fuser sucks. I hate Fuser.
So, all right, yeah, yeah, Fuser is probably the worst rhythm game I've ever played. I'm not even joking. I played like Rock Revolution. There's some pretty bad ones, but Fuser takes the cake. I will admit that. However, I think you have a glaring omission. Do you have any honorable mentions?
Yeah, I do. Balan Wonderworld.
Okay, I mean that's a good honorable mention. But how in the world is Sense a Cyberpunk Ghost Story not on your list? That's like the big titty game.
So that game wasn't like a worse game because that game was actually playable.
All right, well, I'm gonna get into my list. Unless, do you have more to say?
Nah, that's it.
All right. Number 5 for me, Star Sector. Do you remember Star Sector?
Yeah.
I'm surprised you remember Star Sector because I genuinely I had an idea of the most forgettable games, but this is the only game on the list that I genuinely forgot we played, and I had to look up what Star Sector was because I forgot that the game existed.
It's an simulator, so it's unless you are into that kind of thing, it's not your type of game.
A bleep simulator indeed. I legitimately thought Orwell's Animal Farm, which is honestly it's very mediocre. I thought that was the most forgettable game we played, but I was like, oh, this one's actually.
I remember that game though. That game was actually had something to it.
Yeah, Star Sector. It was it did nothing for me. Number 4. Actually, wait, did I fuck up? 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry. That's my number 4th worst. Number 5. I fucked it up bad. I'm sorry. Metro 23 Redux. It's just not my type of game. It's just like a zombie shooter. I just had no enjoyment playing it.
For me, that was a game that was meh. It's the list of 20 games this year that were eh.
It brought up memories of me sucking at COD. And all my friends kicking my ass at COD. And I'm doing this by myself. Why am I kicking my own ass at COD? This sucks.
I used to wreck people's face at COD.
Yeah, so that's me, Mr. I don't like first-person shooters. But anyway, number 4 we already have. Number 3, Fuser. Fuser was the worst rhythm game I probably ever played, and it cost $60. That was a terrible purchase, and I probably have. I don't think I have 2 hours. Maybe I could refund it. That'd be pretty nice. Number 2. Sense a Cyberpunk Ghost Story, just because I wanted to put this as number 1. My number 1 is Who Wants to Beat Up a Millionaire. My reasoning was there's almost something worse about this being a game that has ideas and failing at every single one of those ideas. Yeah. Not only was the game incredibly broken and laggy, you said it was playable. I don't think this game was playable. The game ran at 5 FPS at times, and also
you played it on Switch. I played it on PC.
Okay, that's true. But yeah, the game was nearly unplayable. The game is exploitative from the start, and I think that it was genuinely unfun. Okay, that's scary to me. We have a sociopath on the podcast. But I guess the idea of Who Wants to Beat Up a Millionaire is so offensive to my brain, and the idea that someone would spend money on that I had to put it at number 1. Imagine, because that game cost $30 at one time.
What year did that game come out in?
1998 or something?
Yeah, that's classic 90s though.
I guess I would just be so pissed. I couldn't do it.
That's like boomer game. Boomers played that game in the 90s. It is so fucking terrible. I mean, it was both on our same list. But Fuser and Bejeweled Twist are obviously the worst.
Fuck you. Anyway, what I want to say now is honorable mentions, Gucci Arcade. And I wanted to say that WarioWare is probably the most disappointing AAA title that we played this year. I'm never going to play WarioWare again. That's it.
Yeah, I could agree. No, most disappointing title was Parappa the Rapper.
That was 2020.
Was it?
Yeah, that was the last episode of 2020.
Fuck.
If I want to say most disappointing, and it's not even a disappointing game. In fact, I really like the game, but there's something with Return of the Obra Dinn, which made it I don't think I could ever go back to that game, and
it was a cool game.
It was a cool game, but there's just something weird about the praise of that game versus my enjoyment of it. I could recognize that as a great game, but maybe it's just so polarizing I'm disappointed by it. Maybe that's it.
Did we both not play enough of it? I played a couple hours of it.
I played a couple hours of it too, and I enjoyed it, but I feel like I didn't really do much than scratch the surface after 3 hours, and I don't think I'm gonna go back because the game is just too confusing, and I just it felt like it was there's whatever. I could go through every single one of these games and say bad things about them. I'm just picking on Obra Dinn because it was weirdly low on my list given how much praise that game got.
I'm just thinking about Sense of Cyberpunk Story and just getting Yeah, I'm getting irritated. That probably should have been an honorable mention for me, but I think I'm happy with my list actually.
Okay, I'm happy. I'll share you my list after this. But in the meantime, what did we play this week?